During my lifetime, depending on the statistics you read, we've lost between 70 and 90% of our vegetable and fruit seed varieties. And we've done this because the big ag companies, this agribusiness says, it's easiest for us to harvest a certain kind, if it has a big stock, if it has this, it's easier for us to do this. It's cheaper for us to have huge monocultures of one particular seed type. And so for a long time, we had an extraordinary reduction in the amount of food, the variety of foods that were available to us. A couple different kinds of apples, a couple different kinds of tomatoes. There are hundreds and hundreds of varieties of apples. There's hundreds of varieties of tomatoes, hundreds of varieties of onions. We're doing better. We're seeing a little bit more variety, but we still have lost those as far as our commercial market is concerned. And unless we stop a very dangerous pattern we're seeing in the world, that's not going to get much better. Right now, Monsanto owns over 1/4 of all the commercial seeds in the world. If you add them with Syngenta, Dow, Bayer, and a few others, they own over 60% of all. These are chemical companies owning all the commercial seeds of the world. Now, here's the point. When they own them, and patent many of them, by the way, when they do that, they don't use them all. They deep six them. They say, we're not going to use these. We're just going to put them on the back shelf there because they were competing with our seeds. And we want only our seeds out there in the market. We want to tell all the farmers of the world, here's the 3 or 4 seeds you have to choose from that we few companies are giving to you. And you don't have the other choice because we own them, and if you use them, you're breaking our patent or breaking a license agreement. So it's not like they're buying up all these seeds because they want to see more seed variety. They're doing it to get rid of those seeds so they'll only have their seeds on the market. Now, there's a couple of ways we can fight against this. One is my organization, the Center for Food Safety. What we've done is we've started an international seed saving network. So all the seed savers in the world can talk to each other. It's like a big dating site, except instead of dating, you're sharing seeds. And you get to know each other, and it's very complex as far as knowing which eco-region those seeds go to. So one is, and we have seed libraries. This has become very popular around the world. Gardening is the most popular hobby in America and many other places around the world. So we can do sort of from the ground up, all pun intended, protection of seeds. Have a citizen seed movement saying we are not going to let Monsanto and the boys do this. We are going to protect our seeds through what we're doing at Center for Food Safety and what other people are doing. This is very important because we love seed diversity. Diversity is our strength, whether that be in social policy. Diversity is not deficiency, which our current president and others seem to think. Diversity is our strength, and it's our strength for a number of very, very important scientific reasons. If you have only one particular type of corn and a corn blight comes, that's going to wipe out your entire corn if you only have one seed variety. We had that in the country. It's called the Great Corn Blight in the 1970s. We had to get corn varieties from South America to survive that. The more different kinds of seed varieties you have, the more food security you have. If a blight comes in, it'll hit that one, but not that one, and you'll be able to survive that. So it's very important even to get dealing with seed pathogens. But it's also really important when we look at climate change, what I call climate chaos, because we don't know. We don't know what the climate's going to be in lots of parts, let's say, of the United States. We don't know what seeds we're going to need. Seeds we're probably not even using now. So if we massively monoculture these seeds, monoculture meaning just have a very few instead of having this diversity, we are not going to be prepared for the new kinds of agriculture we're going to need in those new climates. So seed diversity is absolutely critical. We have to stop the lock, the usurpation of our entire seed future by these few chemical corporations. It is, if they were taking over all the water of the world or all the energy of the world, there would be an uproar. But people don't realize it's just as serious as they're trying to take over all the seeds of the world. Most people don't know that the United States Department of Agriculture was started during the Civil War to try and get food to the troops. But after the Civil War ended in 1865, what the United States Department of Agriculture did, it went around the world to get seed varieties. It would bring them back to the United States and give them for free to American farmers. Members of the House of Representatives actually would give these packets, of which hundreds of millions were given out over a period of several decades, free to farmers saying, hey, see if this works. Because you remember America, we have so many different climate niches, so many different areas, the South and North, so many different things. They would go around the world saying, hey, this works in Sweden. This might work in the northern part of the United States. This works in more tropical areas. Hey, this might work in the South. So, and they were all for free. So when the robber barons, as we came to know them, the Rockefellers, the Mellons, all these bankers, they began to look at agriculture in the beginning of the 20th century and said, we can't make any money on agriculture because they're giving all the seeds away, and we can't see a way, and they're making a lot of food, but it's all local. What are we going to do here? So the first thing they said was, let's stop giving those seeds away. So in 1924, they passed a law that said, stop, we're not going to give seeds away anymore. And then they began to say, could we create seeds that create a higher yield for one season, and then the next season won't work at all, or work very little, right? Because that way, that would force the farmers to come back to us every year for their seeds. So they began to hybridize along Mendelian principles and other principles, and in the middle of the 30s, right in the middle of the Depression, they succeeded. They created a hybrid corn that for one growing season gave you a lot more corn. If you tried to save those seeds and plant them the next year, you got a lot of garbage, right? This is underestimated as an extraordinary moment in the whole history of the 10,000-year history of the world in agriculture. Before that, all around the world, farmers had used the development of seeds to create more resilient, more longer-lasting seeds that would last for generations, that they could depend on. Now, for the very first time, millions were spent by the government and private interests saying, no, we want to create a seed that only lasts for one season and then basically commits suicide. So you have to come back to us. Well, during the Depression, there was a lot of need. Farmers bought these seeds to get that 1 year out of it, and then had to go back to get that 1 year out of it, and the hybridization began. And it had some terrible effects. One terrible effect was the cost of seed. Well, farmers who'd been saving their seeds now were being outproduced by the ones that had these new hybridized seeds. So they would try and buy them, but the cost would be prohibitive. That overhead cost would create problems. And because they're oversupply with the same demand, the cost for the corn went down. Lots of farmers went out of business, right? Then they started playing with these hybrid seeds, saying, hey, we want hybrid seeds with corn, for example, thicker stalks that will allow for mechanical harvesting. Only mechanical harvesting. It would be very hard to harvest them otherwise. So mechanical harvesting, farmers that could afford the machinery could. More supply, equal demand, prices went down, farmers went out of business. As they went out of business, larger and larger farms, larger and larger monocultures, in come your insects, in come your fungi, and then we started having to use these pesticides. So this is what happened to American agriculture because of this moment of saying, instead of having plants that are resilient, we're gonna create a commodity seed, a seed whose sole purpose is to have one growing season and then essentially die. We now call it Terminator technology, if you will. That was the earliest Terminator technology. So that is a tragic result of hybridization. And certainly books have been written about this, but most people believe that working with non-hybrids with the same kind of energy would have yielded the exact same growth in yields that we would have seen with hybridization.